Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping episode 101 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, or Downfall Part 3. Now this was a long one. It was, I think, 6 hours, close to 6 hours. So that's insane. So this might be a long one. This might be a long recap, and I apologize for that. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to cut certain things out if I feel the need. So hopefully it's not too long. So let's get into it. We start in Aeor. The party has just destroyed the device blocking the god's vision of Aeor, and they have seemingly stopped the Aravox protocol at the same time, making sure the plans of the Factorum Malleus are now gone and cannot be shared. The party are now in the pocket dimension within the Ars Elysia, the speakeasy that Salaha owns, and they can hear the storm raging above. With the party is Cassadia, Arcadia, and 3 of the 4 betrayer gods, Milo, Zarhust, and Cheshire. All that remains now is for them to take out the Factorum Malleus. Cheshire and Zarhust flank Cassida immediately. She looks to the gods and tries to ask them if they are the betrayers. But before she can, Cheshire asks if she's meant to be there and then grabs her by the hair. Triss says that she's with her, and Salaha says to not spill any more blood here. The door of this room informs Salaha that something is happening in the bar. He steps out and sees the whole place is now tilted and people are freaking out. The tables are now sliding across the ground to one side. Salaha creates a gyroscope for the bar so it doesn't, get all messed up and is now stable. He then goes back into the pocket dimension, but as he is going back in, suddenly Umletta drops from the ceiling and asks where the hell he's been. It's been crazy. Salaha says that they did the task that they were meant to do, where was she? And she then takes out a diamond on a gold chain with an image inside of an angel talking to 2 mages. She says that she's been doing her job. The 2 then enter the room again, and Cassadia is about ready to teleport. She's not dealing with this crap. Cassida seems shaken by this. It wasn't how she envisioned the meeting with the gods going. Umletta says that they did it this time and time is now running out. Triss casts calm emotions on Cassadia, or Cassadia, I don't know how. I'm just going to flip-flop between that name, I swear. She tells her that she built something incredible, but there's more to it that she doesn't quite understand. She asks Cassida, to trust her. Milo asks what Triss knows that the rest of them don't, and the emissary calls Cassida a heretic. Amira asks if this is the mother of the child, and Cassida says yes, and that she asks if she's the only mortal in the room. Salaha says technically and then points to the emissary. The emissary calms down once he hears that she is a mother. Cassida wants to understand, but asks if she's going to be doing the right thing. And Amira says of course, and she was doing the right thing, and asks for the passwords for today. Cassida tries to teleport out, but Salaha casts Counterspell, and it stops the teleport. Cassida looks horrified at this moment. The betrayer gods are getting ready to sort of finish her off here, and Triss and Amira have a chance to save her. Amira tells her to calm down. They're trying to help her out. With an insight check of 16, she sees the death flash in Cassida's eyes that she has seen throughout her life, and she's seen quite a lot of it. Amira sees friends of Cassida dying as they are all living in bad conditions. She sees this Archmage is from the Opus Ward, a place where worship was still taking place, as it was kind of a poorer district. She sees a single-minded focus on saving the gods, fully believing she could turn Aeor into a weapon to help the gods and end the calamity. Cheshire says people should share the secrets they know now, or they can take action. Triss asks if Cassida knows the passwords for today, and she says yes, but she'll just share it with her. Cassida uses Detect Mind to let Triss read her mind, and she tells her the password is Aura Rex. Cassida then asks Triss what she's trying to do, and Triss says she's trying to save the gods just like her. Cassida says that now she stands in the company of not just the prime deities, but also the betrayers. They're both here. The world is burnt by their war, and how could they be standing here together? She thought she was going to save them. Zarhust says this is a truce. Cassida asks how they can be working together, and Milo says that she sees a line between good and evil, but the line is actually between those who matter and those who don't. They are on the same side of it as a family. Something inside Cassida breaks in this moment. Aiden says the weapon she helped build, even though she thought it would help, but she misunderstood something. That which threatens one of them threatens them all. Umletta laughs, and Milo says it's nice to learn that the weapon was only being aimed at half of them, and hopes the others don't feel embarrassed by the fact that they're trying to help them stop it now. Umletta says that it's a noble thought, but the gods are gods. They hate nothing more than mortals trying to come to their rescue. She should know her place. Cassida goes blank. She looks to Aiden and says she can help them with it. Aiden asks if she's ever thought why they banished them and not killed them. She doesn't understand some things. The might of them all protects the world. There are things she can't comprehend, and should they come here, a handful of them won't be able to stop it. Salaha says there's a war, and explaining themselves here isn't going to help anyone. She's just one human being. Cassida says that Salaha is Selena's construct, and Umletta says that Salaha is right, and shows the rest of them the image of the Archmage speaking to the angel. They see an old mage named Adamar, a prince counselor of the Conscience? I think that's what he said. I couldn't quite hear Brennan, and for whatever reason, the closed captioning wasn't working today. And they see Salaha's creator, Selena. Adamar says it's bold for him to come here, and he's talking to Akestriel, the solar that sort of betrayed the gods. Selena says the gods can't come even in mortal forms, but Akestriel says that time is nothing to them, and they aren't in simple disguises. They are now mortals. Once they are done with these lives, they will toss them aside just like they will toss the rest of them. Akestriel says the gods are monsters, and you are nothing to them. Adamar says that he was made to be loyal to them, but Akestriel cuts him off and says that he's loyal to their truths, and they abandon those truths. He holds up a talisman, and the mage's eyes go wide. Suddenly the door opens and a soldier walks in and says that the Obtenebrator is now down. Selena waves her hands around casting a spell and says the Aerovox protocol didn't go off either. Akestriel says that they are here and they must go now and activate the weapon, and the recording ends. Salaha asks which way is the fastest way to the weapon, and Cassadia says what are they going to do, or asks what they're going to do. Salaha says they don't have time for that, they just need to go. Amira says this is her chance. If she wants to help them, she can, but if she wants to just grab her son and go, she can. Cassadia apologizes for her part in the creation of the weapon, but she can go and destroy the only remaining copy of the designs for the weapon. It's in the Genesis ward on level B9. She says that she can do it, and they can just destroy the weapon. That way they don't have to destroy the entire city. She can feel the betrayer gods looking down at her, sort of surrounding her. Asha asks if she can really do that, and Cassadia says that she can, and she's sorry for making the weapon. Amir casts command on her to actually follow through with what she just said, and Cassadia chooses to fail, accepting the mission. Arcadia asks if they want to destroy it. She doesn't want that knowledge to be erased forever, even the knowledge that is in Salaha's head. Salaha says that he has a plan for the knowledge within him. Arcadia says that Trisk should go with Cassida. She agrees, and they all begin to step out of the room. Amira casts mislead on herself, turning herself invisible and making a copy of herself. She's going to send the copy with Trist. The bartender asks Salaha what they should do, and he tells them to get everyone out, and the bartender does so. Amira looks through Dearest's eyes, and she sees 3 massive skyships trying to right the city from lurching again, but the winds are too strong, and it does so anyway. She watches many people die as they're tossed into the air and slammed back down on the ground. One of the ships is then thrown into the city, and hundreds more die as well. She watches a mage try to flee the city with knowledge, and he's trying to escape with a ton of magic protecting him. However, a lightning bolt comes at him and hits his staff out of his hand, and he begins to tumble towards the ground. The rest are leaving through the glass factory, and Cassadia is explaining how to destroy the weapon. She says there are 7 wards on the weapon, 4 on the lower arms and 3 on the upper arms. The 4 lower wards are the secondary ones and the weaker ones. They are all there to sort of protect against divine powers. There's divine prowess, vigor, awareness, and resistance. And then the higher ones are against divine, vitality, magic. Divine, vitality, magic, and potency. Divine is not a separate word from vitality. Those wards create the Latimus precepts, and it's what sort of blocks everything from happening. Once they do destroy these wards, a failsafe will go off, destroying the gods within the city. They will have to disanimate the Factorum Malleus as the wards go down, but she's not sure if they can in their current forms. There will also be a massive blast of energy, and it will end after that. She'll do her best to deal with the scroll batteries, which is like where the information is written on. They can destroy the wards in any order, but the higher wards are going to be more resilient. Amira asks for any weak points, and Cassadia says that the wards are the weak point. But the center will be the easiest place to dispel or disanimate the Factorium from. Cassadia says that the energy blast will be enormous, and once it's gone, the batteries are also erased. The only people who will have any idea of the plans would be herself, Selena, and Adamar. Everyone else beyond that doesn't know anything, and even the three of them don't know every part to it. Insight check from Amira, she can tell that Cassadia is not lying. Cassadia says that she understands what it means for her to know what she knows, and that her son has family in the Opus Ward, and as long as he's safe, she understands what has to happen to her. Trist hugs her and thanks her for her help. The party then get out into the streets, and it's stormy and windy as hell. They see flashes of lightning hundreds of miles off in the distance. They see a very large image of a wing as large as the sky, a dragon wing, and everyone can hear a roar. The party start moving through the streets. Amira asks if there is a way under the city to get to the Genesis Ward. Asha hears thousands of voices all around them. There are tons of ways. She tells the voices, the rats and vermin and all that, to give them the fastest way. The party are going towards the Genesis Ward, and they see a load of mages loading up into elevators, heading down to buy time against whatever is trying to attack the Malleus. Asha sees the tree from before, again, and she sees maggots writhing in front of it. They drop down into a sewer, giving them a fast means of travel to the Genesis Ward. Umletta yells out that they are teleporting. Everyone turns and see an entire ward teleport away from the city. Slaha can feel a dimensional anchor fall over the city as the Cognosa Ward leaves. That's not going to bite anybody in the ass later. No way. Not an entire campaign dedicated to that, or at least the end of a campaign. Definitely not going to happen. Other mages try to teleport away, but they can't. Teleportation is now down throughout the city. The party look down at the green amulets that they have, and they can feel that they themselves can still teleport if they need. The emissary looks at the courthouse, and he sees a long marble platform with beautiful gallows built on top of it. And criminals of Aer who worship the gods are hanging from it. Their bodies are horizontal due to the wind. The faithful are executed for their crimes here. Asha makes the area around the tree lush with fruit for the handful of her faithful still here so they can feed before the end. The party start to head down into the sewer, and the party cast their protection spells on themselves to be ready for the fight that is coming up. I'm just saying that because they prepared like 1 million spells, and to go over everything would add more time. The emissary picks up some water and says to Cassadia that it's not all good or bad. Family and balance, and he tips the water out of his hand and asks if she understands. She says she was told that there are things that she will never understand. So she will do as they ask, but they need to make up their mind if she is to understand them or not. The emissary says that he is not the one to wish, or he's not the one to grant that wish. Cassadia asks to stop being taught lessons, and the emissary says that his mother loves her. Cassadia then walks away, and as they walk away, Aiden begins to glow. The glow coming off of him is the first constellation they all saw when they arrived in Exandria. Milo speaks up and says, if there are rows and rows of armies guarding the elevators to the Factorum itself will be heavily guarded as well. They need every bit of force they can have. He says Cassadia should go alone, but he can't really trust her, and says the Prime Deities can't be left alone with her either. Someone on his end should go as well. The Prime Deities agree, and Umletta says that she'll be the one to go with Trist. and Cassadia. Cassadia says that she knows that this can be done. She says there will be many forces against them, mages, dragons, demons. They will bring the Age of Arcana against them. They eventually reach level B9, where the batteries are. They see the scrolls in rank and file, and our Oratons are reading them and writing down on them. The names of the gods are being written on these scrolls. Triss asks why they don't just destroy it now, as it's standing right in front of them. Arcadia says that they've made it once, they'll just make this again. It's not sound logic to destroy it. And she just thinks that it's wrong to destroy knowledge. They've all gone back on things that they've said over the years. This is going too far in her opinion. The emissary says no half measures, and Arcadia says they have Cassida. She can point out the essential scrolls, and they have all been bound up together through telepathic means. So if they need to reach out to each other during the fight, they can all go up there and reach them. If that is the case, they can destroy it if need be. But if they can save some, she wants to. The group splits. Cassadia, Arcadia, that's not it, Cassida, Arcadia, Triss, and Umletta, and the duplicate of Amira are staying here. Asha, Aiden, Salaha, the emissary, the real Amira, Milo, Cheshire, and Zarhust are going to the Factorum Malleus. Cassida makes the Aoratons start to collect scrolls. Triss sees a bunch of teleportation pads that are on the fritz that she might be able to use later if need be. The rest continue down the staircase towards the chamber with the Factorum Malleus. Above them is a catwalk that opens up two bright lights. They can hear arcane engines making a ton of noise above them. They hear a voice say that it has to be used now, and another one says that it hasn't been tested yet. They don't have a spare god lying around to use it on. Salaha can sneak off and join Selena, as she doesn't know that he is a god yet. So he does exactly this. He walks out into an open gateway that leads to a chamber and sees the Factorum Malleus. Brennan then pulls out a map, and it fucking spins. Here's a video of it.
Ooh, prime deities, welcome to the God Hammer. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Stop it! Stop it!
Salaha enters a massive room with the Factorum Malleus in the middle. Salaha walks up and sees the Celestial, Castrol, and three mages are on top of it. He doesn't know who most of them those three are, but he also sees Selena and Adam are on top of it as well. There's also mages on the lower arms and two more constructs on these arms as well. Salaha calls for Selena, and Salaha gets a cold feeling, and he now understands that standing near something like this can kill him. Selena turns to him and asks him what he has seen so far, and he says that it's total chaos and that's what she needs him to do. He gets to the edge of the catwalk just before the open space where the spinning stuff is happening, where they will need to jump across later. He then has to make a deception check, and he rolls a 28. Selena says they need as many mages as possible. Then Orchestrial turns to him and asks, in his heart of hearts, is this Salaha's true form? Salaha says yes. Then Orchestrial says that I myself am not a liar and pulls out his sword. Solars can always tell when people are lying. Time to roll initiative. The emissary rolls a 27. Amira rolls a 16. Asha with a 15. Salaha with a 13. Triss with a 12. And Aiden with a 10. Brennan informs the players that as they take out wards, parts of their divine power will come back to them. Just thought I'd put that out there. The emissary is up. He is about 60 feet back from where Salaha is, so he dashes to get right next to him. He then tries to see what the nearest ward is, but he can't tell with an Arcana check. He didn't meet the 10 checking, or the 10 DC. He then takes his Scales of Justice and throws it towards the nearest ward. He hits it with 31 damage. He hits it with a 31, dealing 18 damage, but with his Demolishing Might, I think that's a feat, or an ability he gets, he's able to deal double damage to structures. So it's 36 damage shattering the ward, and he gets Divine Prowess. Everyone then gets a power-up from Divine Prowess. After rolling a skill check, double the roll after calculations, from all bonuses, double passive skills. That's two different things, by the way. So you double all your passive skills and you double all your rolls after calculating, which is insane. Everyone begins to glow as their mortal bodies get closer to not being able to contain their power. Salaha sees there are some invisible beings in this room, and the emissary and Salaha both need to make dex saves. Salaha with a 22 and the emissary with a 15. They both take 14 fire damage and 14 radiant damage, but with one of the, but Aiden takes half damage from the emissary due to warding bond, which is one of the many spells he cast during the preparations part of it all. Acastriel yells to protect the wards, and one of the constructs then walks over and squats right on top of it. Salaha and the emissary need to make wisdom saves. They both fail and take 45 damage. They both fail and they both take 45 damage, and they are both stunned. Aiden then takes half the damage from the emissary again. Just remember that every time the emissary takes damage, Aiden will be taking half of it. The other construct then squats near another one of these wards. Suddenly, a Glarblezu appears behind Salaha and the emissary and attacks Salaha, hitting him for 7 damage. It then swings for the emissary, dealing 7 damage, but of course, Aiden takes half. And I'm going to mispronounce this, because this next one, another demon, a Malfezi. I'm just going to say that. You know what? The other demon flies above the emissary and bites the emissary for 32 damage. The other demon misses his 2 claw attacks on the emissary after that. One of the mages is up, and it yells to protect the wards. He then transforms into a fucking brass dragon, and both Salaha and the emissary they just take 45 damage because it was a dex save, and they can't do dex saves while they're stunned. So they both take 45 damage from that. Zarhust is up, and he says, let's tell them the truth, and he yells, charge, and then waddles up towards the fight. And that's all he can do. Amira is up. She moves up a bit, just not quite to the others quite yet. She then bonus actions and sends one of her stars from her crown of stars to try to hit one of the top wards, one of the higher ranking wards. She hits with a 26, dealing 32 damage to it. It has damaged it quite a bit, but it's not broken yet. She then casts Shatter on the construct, also hitting the ward that it's standing on. She then turns visible because she cast a spell. She deals 27 damage to the ward and half of that to the construct. Both wards are still up, however, but they're very much weakened. Acastriel then teleports to Amira with a legendary action. It's now his turn. He says that he will put to rest the ruin that they have brought to this world, and he attacks her, and he hits 2 times, dealing 49 damage. But Aiden uses a reaction to teleport in front of her and take the damage instead, which was another thing that he set up during the preparation. So, sorry, I didn't quite catch the name of this ability / spell, and I'm sure someone will tell me, so that's fine. You know, if you want to know, just read that. And I'll ping it. If whoever tells me first, I'll ping it. Aiden says that he has some words for Acastriel. Acastriel then takes 29 damage from Armor of Agathist, and Amira then casts Hellish Rebuke, dealing 37 more damage. However, Amira loses her Mislead spell because she didn't beat the concentration check. Trist watches her duplicate vanish within the scroll battery room on B9. Acastriel then tries to hit Aiden, but he misses. Asha is up. She walks up to Aiden and Amira, and then she walks past them and jumps off the top of the head of onto the top of the head of the Glarblezu. She then stabs the Glarblezu and crits with it, making it a stunning strike, dealing 21 damage and stuns it. She then stabs it again for 9 more damage. She then uses Patient Defense and then hides behind it from the dragon on that other side. Another Archmage is up, and they jump off the upper arms and turn into a silver dragon. The brass dragon misses a legendary action, and then Acastriel makes an attack on Amira. Sorry, he makes her roll a con save, not attack, and she rolls a 1 and she becomes blinded. The Silver Dragon uses its breath weapon, a con save from Zarhust, Aiden, and Amira. Aiden saves, Amira saves as well, but Zarhust becomes paralyzed from it. Salaha is now up and stunned. So his turn is skipped. Trishara is up and she moves up as far as she can, jumping off Akestrel's head and lands on the top of the brass dragon, stabbing it for 36 damage. Trist is up. She hears something from inside her pocket, and the sending stone is going off. It's her son. He says that it's getting scary here. People are running all over. Is they are going to be able to send help to them. He then hands off the sending stone to his father. He says that he's with Pervan, and she tells her husband to go and get safe. Her husband agrees. He asks for where his daughter is, and she can hear all of this over the sending stone. Her brother says that she went up to help other people. She hears the sounds of chaos going off behind them. Arcadia asks what's going on, and Trish says that she doesn't know. Amiris, Trish's husband, says that he's scared and asks for her to stay on the sending stone with him. She says yes, but she can't come back for him yet. Then the sending stone goes silent, and Arcadia asks what she's going to do. What she's going to do here, she can't help anyone. If there's a miracle to be done, she can work, and she owes it to her family. Trist agrees, and Trist then runs towards the Factorum Malleus to join the fight. Many mages then move forward. One casts Power Word Kill on Salaha, but it doesn't work. He needs to have less than 100 health, and he doesn't. Mirror images go up on a handful of them. The emissary needs to make a charisma saving throw, and he rolls a 25, avoiding banishment. The last one then flies up behind the Silver Dragon and casts Cone of Cold on Amira, Aiden, Asha, the emissary, and Salaha. It was either 45 damage or 22 damage, depending on if they saved or not. Aiden, of course, halves whatever damage the emissary gets. Adamar then casts Wish on Salaha. A con save from Salaha. He rolls a 22. He takes 60 force damage. The mage tried to kill Salaha with Finger of Death. Aiden is up. He casts a bonus action Sanctuary on himself. He then, that's normally not, but he has a feat that lets him do that. He then casts Mass Cure Wounds at 6th level, healing for 20 hit points to everyone around him. The Silver Dragon then smacks Amira for 17 more damage with its tail as a legendary action. Selena makes Salaha roll a charisma save, and he fails, and he is teleported to the top of the Factorum Malleus. A mage then summons a demon and makes him stand on top of one of the wards. Father Milo is up, and he walks forward. The last mage on the upper level then jumps into the air and transforms into an undead dragon and flies over towards the rest of the party on the catwalk. A dexterity save and a wisdom save needs to be made from everyone on the catwalk. So everyone except Salaha and Trist. Amira uses an ability to make the undead dragon redirect the attack, but he uses a legendary action to resist it. Salaha and the emissary failed their wisdom saves. Oh wait, never mind. Salaha did have to make it. They failed their wisdom saves, and now they are both frightened. Amira and Aiden take 31 damage from the breath weapon, and the emissary is up. He is stunned. The construct, passing the emissary as the thing spins past him, attacks, hitting him for 30 damage. Of course, Aiden heals it. And the emissary is pushed back 5 feet out of the range of the construct's second attack. And he is now no longer stunned, and neither is Salaha. The Glarblezu is up, and he hits for 8 damage on the emissary, but Aiden teleports and takes that damage. The other demon, because I'm not saying the name because I can't, attacks for 30 damage on the emissary. The brass dragon is up. It doesn't recharge his breath weapon due to Lucky from the emissary. Now here's the thing. Lucky doesn't work this way. But fuck that, the rule of cool, this was perfect. It needed to happen because they would have died here. Like, they would have been absolutely screwed if Brennan didn't let them use Lucky to re-roll that D6, they would have died here. And frankly, I don't care. Lucky should be used to be able to re-roll anything. Lucky is limited to 3, and it should be broken. That's the point of it. The Brass Dragon then attacks with its regular attacks on Cheshire for 70 damage. Zarhust fails his paralysis roll, so he's still stuck, and Amira is now up. She tries to use her Crown of Stars to hit the ward that she already hit before, but she misses with a 17. She then expels Darkness. I didn't hear the name of the spell. It seems like the spell Darkness, but with extra things added to it. So anyone within the darkness hears the cry of loss and needs to make a wisdom saving throw, and she deals 35 damage to whoever fails the saving throw. Aiden and the emissary both take 17 as they're within the circle, but they succeeded. And anything else in the darkness took that damage as well. The dragons all miss, but they use the dragons all miss their legendary actions. A Kestrel swings for Aiden and hits through Sanctuary, but Amira takes the damage, 42 damage. Amira, with less than 100 HP, needs to make a con save or she will die instantly. She rolls a natural 20 on her save and lives for now. I'm sure he'll come back for more. The Dawnfather feels the Raven Queen is now family. Asha is up. She leaps up over to the lower arm of the Factorum Malleus. She makes it no problem. She then runs over to the damaged ward and she tries to stab the construct over top of it. She hits, dealing 17 damage, hits again for 14 damage. She then uses Flurry of Blows and hits again for 14 more damage, but misses the last one. She tried to use Stunning Strike on every single one of these, and it didn't work. Aiden takes 17 damage from the Undead Dragon tail attack, and our Kestrel teleports to the top of the Factorum Malleus. Salaha is up. He uses Clockwork Cavalcade and heals himself to 166 hit points. He then uses Quicken Spell to cast Meteor Swarm. Fucking insane. Adamar rolls a counter spell and rolls a 13, so the counter fails. Selena does it as well, and she rolls a 16 before modifiers. And then Salaha, with a level 8 counter spell of his own, counter spells. It works, and Meteor Swarm goes off. He places 2 on the middle of the Factorum Malleus, hitting 3 of the higher wards, and he hits the dragons as well, dealing 20d6 fire damage and force damage, 40d6 with each one of these meteors that come down and hit things. He deals 69 fire damage and 77 force damage to the dragons, 128 damage to the silver dragon and the demons near him. The dragons all use legendary resistances to half the damage, and they are all now incredibly fucked up. Salaha deals 67 fire damage and 67 force damage to the top of the Factorum Malleus. He hits there again for 77 and 71 damage respectively. Selena saves 2 times. Adamar dies instantly and is turned into dust. Selena is fucked up. Our Kestrel fails, and in this moment, Salaha kills a Kestrel with the meteors, burning him away. Asha then teleports up to take one of the damages from the meteors for Salaha, and she has evasion, so she takes half damage from that as well, and half of that from the save with a natural 20, so the 2 of them are just dancing within the destruction. All 3 of the higher wards up here go down, and they are all given insane new powers. They get Divine Magic, Divine Vitality, and Divine Potency. Divine Magic is basically, they get to cast a free spell every turn. Doesn't matter what level, as long as it's within a cleric spell domain. So that's nuts. There's a lot of spells in that. They double their spell save DC, they double their range with magic, and they double the duration that their spells have. Vitality, if you don't take damage since your last turn, you get all of your hit points back. All death saves are instantly natural 20s. So the only way you can die at this point is if you get whacked twice while you're on the ground. Current max hit points and temp hit points is 10 times what it normally is, and you are immune to being petrified, paralysis, poison, and disease. These are nuts. Potency, Divine Potency. All damage from spells and weapon attacks are times 10. After attack rolls are calculated, double it, double AC, and double attack range. What the fuck? This is insane. Normally when a fight goes on, it gets harder. This is the only fight that I think I've ever seen that's gotten easier as time has gone on. 4 of the 7 wards are now down, and their bodies are becoming divine. That ends Salaha's turn. Trist runs into the chamber, and she runs up to the emissary. At this point, Nosir makes the coolest move ever, in my opinion, and saying that he doesn't think that he should get these bonuses as he's not a god. The emissary is a conduit for a god. So the emissary doesn't get these bonuses, and he's the only one that doesn't. The emissary loses the frightened condition because Trist got close enough to him, and then Trist casts a mass healing the emissary, giving sight back to Amira, and healing others around her. She then tries to get the construct to destroy the ward that it's on top of. With a DC 40 persuasion check, she rolls a 60. I should never be able to say she rolled a 60. It stands up and then slams the ward that it's standing on, shattering the ward, giving the gods divine resistance. They get 5 legendary resistances, double their saving throws, and they are immune to non-all magical damage, immune to spells damage from 6th level or lower, and gain elemental immunities to 2 things, and they gain 4 elemental resistances of their choosing. Insane. You know, if you got to pick some of these, I know which one I'd pick first, and it's the one that, you know, I get more health. I think that's probably the best one in my opinion. It's pretty good. The Silver Dragon doesn't get its weapon breath back, or its breath weapon back, and then it misses all of its attacks as it's still inside the darkness, so it has disadvantage. The mages then teleport on top of the Factorum Malleus. One tries to dispel the darkness, but it doesn't work. Both Asha and Salaha save on the spell saving throws that they were thrown at them, and they take 120 damage, but they have insane health now, so it doesn't matter. It was more like the equivalent of taking 12 damage. One of the mages throws the construct off of the arm as it broke the ward, and it's now a traitor. One of them tries to cast Meteor Swarm on the catwalk. Trist gives the emissary 4 more AC, and they all save with the exception... I don't know why I said tries to save, or tries to cast. He does cast it. Aiden is up, and he rapidly ages, taking more of a Dawnfather appearance. He then casts Sunburst, filling the entire chamber, hitting everyone within. The darkness is now gone because it was a higher level spell. Aiden deals 370 damage to everyone who fails the goddamn save, and he destroys all the remaining mages except Selena. She is blinded, however. He kills 3 dragons at the same time. He kills the demons that were left standing, and that's insane. Everything in this room is dead, with the exception of Selena and a single construct. Insanity. Trist takes the damage from the emissary because she is immune from the radiant damage. Aiden then heads over. Aiden's head is now glowing like the Dawnfather. The last construct is still up with Selena. Aiden now jumps to the Factorum Malleus and moves toward the construct. And he gives a commanding rally to the emissary, who attacks a ward, hitting the ward, dealing 116 damage with Aiden's help. And they get the power, they get the power of divine awareness, true sight, blind sight, tremor sense, speak and understand all languages, communicate telepathically with any creature that they can see. You are immune to being charmed, frightened, blinded, deafened, and, you know, that's just crazy. I think actually that's the best one, because that's stacked. As they all gain true sight, Father Milo disappears. Fucker. Selena is up, and she says that she repents. You who made me, I wish to know your light. Please let me know your light. Salaha just backs up and watches her. She then stands up and throws her staff to the ground, and she takes the glass jewel that was given to her by a Kestrel before in the little thing they saw inside the jewel, or the diamond. She throws the jewel into the air, and they can see a god is about to die within this little gem. Salaha jumps up and grabs the jewel. Selena then casts Wish and takes the scrolls that Salaha had taken in before, and then begins to cast it outwards to others for others to see. The scrolls then begin to fly out into the rest of the city. The emissary is up. He turns to the Everlight and says, I am worthy. He rages and dashes and jumps over on top of the Factorum Malleus. He then readies his action. His spinning rocks begin to generate a lot of heat, melting his face away, and the rest of the ice away. The construct readies an action to fight anyone who comes near the last ward. Amira is up. She casts Eldritch Blast at the construct, dealing 110 damage to it. She then hits the last ward with the rest of her remaining blast, destroying the ward, and they get Divine Vigor. You regain all limited use class features at the beginning of your turn, immune to exhaustion, double speed, legendary actions, 3 of them per turn. Actually, that's the best one. That's insanity. The Emissary then strikes the Factorum Malleus, disanimating it. A blast of energy begins to come out, and time slows. The Immortals can now, at this point, sort of take off their mortal foils if they wish. Corellin, holding the jewel in his hand with the god inside of it, hands it over to Asha. Corellin then goes over and hugs Selena. He can feel that her wish was for those in Aeor to receive the scrolls of the Factorum Malleus. Just Aeor, because of course it's just Aeor. The Wild Mother now holds onto the jewel, looks inside to see who it is. She can feel that this one isn't a terrible presence, and she opens it, and Arcadia pops out and asks where he is. She now becomes the knowing mistress. Ioun. They know that a lot of energy is about to be dispelled outward from this Factorum Malleus. The Everlight takes out her sending stone and says, I love you, and I'm sorry. And she loads it into her slingshot and sends it to her family. Back in Hawks Hill, we now see a werebear, a dryad, fighting side by side with the champion of ravens. Champion of the Raven Queen, surrounded by devils. A fiend stands over 2 Firbolg children, and a light shoots across the ocean, smashing into the fiend, killing it. Topher picks up the stone, knowing he'll never speak to his mother again in this world. Haley goes to him, and they say that they love her, triple infinity, and they raise into the air and begin to glow. They move towards the fiends and devils, and they begin to peel back. Hope is not yet lost. The knowing mistress yells Cassadia, and the Dawnfather starts moving back towards B9. He sees that Zarhust and Trishar are gone. The Raven Queen pulls out Slitch and asks where he is, and he says that he's with the spider. Corellin makes a gate for the others to leave if they don't want to be on top of the Factorum Malleus when it goes off. He holds Selena in his arms. The Wild Mother starts running towards B9 as well, and the Raven Queen does as well. She can't feel the thread to Cassadia anymore. The Emissary looks to the Everlight. He says, you can't heal everything, but you can always try. She casts Calm Emotions on him for his final moments. Corellin tells the Knowing Mistress the poem that was in his head from the scrolls. The others then reach B9, the room with the scroll batteries. They don't see Umletta, but they can see Cassadia is now crushed and broken under Amiris, Trist's husband. He says, you look shocked. I always look like the most beautiful thing to anyone who sees me. The Lord of the Hells then steps out of the shadows. He says Cassadia renounced the Everlight as he was killing her. He holds in his hands the scrolls and the keys and says to turn it on. And he holds up the keys to the Factorum Malleus. Roll initiative. The Everlight is first, as she rolled really high. Guiding Bolt at 9th level. She hits with a 51 on the scroll that the Lord of the Hells is holding. She deals 500 damage to the scroll. The emissary fills with light, and the blast is too much for Selena. She just says everyone over and over again. Every wizard in Aeor gets the knowledge of the weapon. Corellin can allow the blast to do what it was supposed to do, or he can redirect it, and he chooses to redirect it at the city. The Genesis ward buckles. The ward is now cored out, and brimstone is disenchanted throughout the city. It begins to fall towards Isle Cross. The emissary is in a dark place with an enormous figure with a white mask looking at him. He says, it's so dark here, but I know who you are. Are you here to take me to Mama? She shrinks down to him and says that he did well and sends him to his mother. He says, find those who are worthy and take them home. She hears this, and in this moment, a child in a hospital bed is no longer in Aor. He is taken elsewhere. Corellon, still standing with Selena, she realizes that her wish was made, and it made him destroy the city. He says that he's never been so proud of something as he is of her. She made something so pure. You wanted the light, here you go, and he pushes her through the gate. Corellon feels peace, and he enters his divine form. The mortal form of the betrayer gods are waiting to use the weapon to destroy their siblings, but instead their mortal forms are destroyed. The blast then hits B9, and the Wild Mother holds her mortal form as long as she can, and she becomes a wolf and sits next to the Everlight. Amira drops her mortal form and finds comfort in the white mask that she wears. Aiden says that he wanted to save them, and asks Asmodeus why it must always be like this. And Asmodeus tells him to not come to him with his tears. You think you're a boy, but you are as much of a mask as that white thing on her face. He says that they had their chance for them to be a family, and that he hates them all, and he always will forever. Aiden takes his divine form and tells him to not lie, and as he tells Asmodeus to stop lying, Asmodeus disappears. The Wild Mother watches Zarhust as he is in pain and says that she misses him so much. He says that she found this place and she can't be in it without hurting it, so this is what she turned him into. She then turns into her human form and hugs him, and they both drop their mortal forms together. They are reborn as gods in this moment. The Everlight looks up to the sky through the hole that was made where the city has fallen. She sees the body of Cassadia. She thinks back to Milo and how Milo left the hospital and Arcadia didn't, and that she heard what was said. And how did the Celestial hand over Ioun in the first place? She sees another follower of hers has been destroyed by the Lord of Hells, and he claimed that she renounced her. The Everlight doesn't care if she did or not. She fixes her body, and a thread goes from her body to the Matron of Ravens. Her soul is not too far gone. The Everlight says that it doesn't feel right, and the Raven Queen hugs her. Overhead of the ruins is the rising sun over the storm. The Everlight says, "Sister, let's go home." The knowledge dies here with Cassadia. Hallis, her son, was saved and sent to Exandria. The Everlight drops her mortal form, and the Raven Queen protects the body of Cassadia. Above the clouds, the sun rises, and under the storm is destruction. The Lord of the Hells waiting to wage war anew, and the party watch the Stormlord push Aor down to be destroyed and to not let anyone survive. They all appear above the clouds. Ioun says that they should not dwell long, they will be back, and the Dawnfather says that they had to try. Hope is very painful. Ioun looks to the Lawbearer who has just arrived and asks why she didn't come. The Lawbearer says for love. If something were to happen, I could not break my own rules to save her, so I gave up my son. She thanks them for taking care of him, and the Dawnfather thanks the Raven Queen, his sister. The Everlight says that the Raven Queen carries more weight than the rest of them, and the Raven Queen says that this was the path that she chose. They hear the thud of Aor hitting the ground, and Ioun looks to the Lawbearer. You would not want us to dwell here. The Lawbearer asks why they bound their children to rules that the rest of them do not follow. They have broken this place, and the rest of them agree. Ioun says that there is a way for their efforts to not be half measures. She says they can do what they did before, but this time they must close the door behind them. The Raven Queen says this is the only home that she's ever known, and the Wild Mother doesn't want to give up this home. The Raven Queen asks if this will protect them, and the Dawnfather says that they protect them, but the Lawbearer questions this. They kill them for being good, and the Lawbearer is tired of it. Ioun says that they need to seal the betrayers before they can deal with themselves. Ioun saw the stone that went across the sky and asks if the Everlight is ready to fight again. She says if she must. Ioun says that there are a way that they can end the calamity. They must not take too long, and she vanishes. The Wild Mother takes the Lawbearer's hand and says that she's not angry with her. She couldn't have been the person that she was if she was here. The Lawbearer asks to hear about her son, and they walk off together. The Everlight tells the Raven Queen to give them more time on this world, and if they were to come early, to send them back. The Raven Queen says she can't do that even for her sister, but she shows them two very bright lights that are threads, and says that they will do great things. The Everlight says they talk about time a lot, but it's not about how long that they have, it's about how it's spent. The Raven Queen says that they've sacrificed much, but it was worth it. The Everlight leaves, and the Raven Queen follows. Before she leaves, she says that the Dawnfather is full of surprises. Corellin and the Dawnfather watch the sun rise. Corellin says that it's beautiful, and says in his heart he knew this would happen, and he let them do their own thing. The Dawnfather says to not see them, and to not stand by them, to not be here for them at all. Corellin says that it'll make these moments last longer, and that they will always be here in their hearts. Corellin then takes a piece of his hair and throws it into the world, and says that they will always be here, and then he leaves. The Dawnfather wonders if he can actually bear to say goodbye to this world. He walks to the edge of the continent looking at the ruins of the once strong city. He doesn't want to leave, but if the others are set on it, he can't lose any more. He hears in his heart Aiden say that it's okay, Father. He gives out one final tear from Aiden that falls into the sea. He stands with his family and he looks at the sun. It shimmers and he vanishes in its light. The gods came from a realm of endless possibilities, and their first sacrifice was to become real. Mirroring that, they see a brief life can make a change to something new. Beautiful as the dawn, we don't see the gods, we only see light. Brennan then leaves the table and Mat returns. Light, endless light. A fractured divine memory captured in a long-lost relic. Cracked and ruined history realized once again as the light fades in this dark ruin of a great city. These memories resurfaced once more in the arcane sphere in the hands of a man born in the lingering fires of what the gods have done. Here the light has echoes. Here, who knows what dangers these light ripples will have. And this is where the episode ends. And this is the end of Downfall. So there you have it, episode 101 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, or Downfall Part 3. This was great. I very much enjoyed it. I do think it was a little long. I would have rather they split this in two and make 2 different sessions, but I can't always get what I want. So simple as that. But anyway, I very much enjoyed this. I'm going to go into more depth about how I feel about it in a later video. But overall, very much enjoyed this. Thought it was a lot of fun. Still genuinely shocked they went the whole god route. I didn't think they would. I thought they would go like Champions of the Gods. But they went full on god, full on deity. And as the fight went on, it got a lot easier for them, which was wild to see. I've never seen a fight go completely 180 like that, where everyone basically made it, which was wild. Everyone was expecting some sort of TPK, or at least a couple of the gods dying, but that didn't happen because in rapid succession, the wards broke and they got a bunch of powers, but it was really cool. I very much enjoyed this. I will speak on how I feel about it more later, but for now, that was fun, and I will see you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I make next, and let me know what you thought about this one in the comments. I'm very curious, and sorry if this is super long, but I can already tell it's going to be long based on the recording times with some of these, so my bad. But anyway, it was a 6-hour long thing. You can't blame me. See you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I make next. Peace.